808s and Joysticks with Tom Stone and Tairell Hayward-Brown.
Welcome to 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games, music, season with pop culture. I'm Tairell, and joining me today, as always, is Tom.
Yeah, we've had a lot of, tidbits of gaming news here and there. Obviously, we have the Video Game Awards coming up, so a lot of nominees for that. And obviously, as usual, we have a plethora of film and TV news and the music releases to get into as well. So we're going to kick it off with an interesting thing of survival horror games. Now, Outlast is a big entry in this sort of area, and they have announced that the Outlast Trials is going to be a co-op entry in the Outlast series, which I think personally is a really good thing. I have been asking for more co-op games, and we're starting to see that a lot more now, especially with Man of Medan, which came out pretty recently. That was a co-op horror game, and that really sort of took off to a degree because people could play it online co-op with each other. We've seen it with a Way Out as well, and I think
Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight as well.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight.
And what's the other one called? Friday the 13th as well. Those are like some of the like co-op-ish kind of games you can play with your friends.
So we're starting to see more. Like you mentioned, you got like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th. They're co-op, but still like online to a degree. It's like certain game modes.
Yeah.
What we're starting to see with like Man of Medan, A Way Out, and now this Outlast Trials, if that's going to be what it is, we're starting to see these sort of like single player experiences with co-op integrated with them over the internet. Because I think people have realised that while it's good that people want to play online, not everyone also wants to play online. People would rather play with their friends, like couch co-op, or just sit through a single player game, and to have the ability to do that now gives everyone a lot more options. And also, it brings back that creativity that's probably been missing, that we speak about quite a lot.
Well, it's interesting anyway. I would just give a quick little background and rundown about Outlast. One of the most scariest and terrifying horror games come out in some of the recent gens. Very, very well known around anybody who loves horror games, and kind of well known for a lot of players in general, just because the games have been given away in PlayStation Plus, or have been on heavily discounted on sales and Steam and elsewhere. So a lot of people seem to know about Outlast from name, or just from knowing about a game like that, where it's a camcorder, kind of like a found footage style that has been developed into a game, which is really interesting in a sense. Like, I always thought that kind of found footage style, would work within a game, and Outlast did it quite brilliantly. How they blended the two together, how the feeling of helplessness, and also kind of the feeling of you are the protagonist of your own story at the moment, and you're just filming it all on your camera, and it's all going to be something that somebody else is going to view one day, and they're going to find and be like, whoa, this crazy thing happened and this person filmed it all. Just like how found footage films are supposed to feel like. Well, I feel like that kind of style has been lost now. The whole, the original found footage style, where like, it really was like a tape that somebody found of like this horrific, scary act that was caught on camera, by some unsuspected people. Whereas now I feel like it's more of like used as a camera style, rather than, there's a story around the actual tape itself. And it will be very interesting to see where the Outlast Trials takes us in the Outlast universe, as Outlast 1 and 2 were quite similar but different in the sense of the setting and the story behind it, but all existed in the same universe. And also it was interesting that it will be up to 3 people you will be able to play co-op with. So that's very, very cool. You know, it's not just the standard 2, at least it's going for 3. I don't know whether it would be you can play with up to 3 people or it's 3 people including you. So it could be a total of 4. As we said, this is just like, you know, they've the co-founders said they've done their proof of concept, and now it's time to focus on content creation, variety, and gore. So we're going to get a full-fledged game out of this, and it's going to be fully co-op. So I'm very interested to see how they tackle this. Yeah, that's about it, really. To do with, have you got any more to say on Outlast? Because obviously this is just kind of like a small piece of news, just kind of like a real low-key announcement of the 3rd entry, like, you know, in the Outlast game.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, like you said, it's pretty low-key that it's been, you know, it's not been massively out there, as in, like, the last announcement for Outlast 2 was pretty big. This one isn't so much, you know. Maybe we'll see something at the Video Game Awards. That could be where we're likely to see something like this. Do
you think maybe this game could possibly be maybe a smaller game in scope, and Outlast 3 is an actual project that they're currently working on, and this is just going to be something that they're going to use as a trial just to see if a co-op aspect of the game can work? I think that they could be going along the lines of that, trying to release something, you know, maybe around the... Outlast is never really an expensive game to start with anyway, so maybe they're going for an even lower price point with this game as well, to try and just test the waters with a few different and new features within the game. I don't know, I'm just asking for your opinion on whether you feel like they're going down a route like that.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably along the right tracks. I feel like that's what we could expect from this. They've been known to put out relatively smaller DLC, which can be played standalone as well. You know, Outlast Whistleblower was that. It was a game that could be bought standalone on its own, or added as a DLC to something else. So it's not going to be sort of something that is unusual for this company to do, and it's definitely probably the likelihood to in a way, co-op horror game at the moment is like the new battle royale genre to a degree. Like that's where we're seeing all the people jumping on the battle royale thing. All these horror games now, the big ones will probably start looking at doing that co-op thing because it was so successful. And obviously, you do your co-op, you get free advertisement by people doing it on YouTube and streaming together, and it leads into that whole sort of, you know, everything getting bigger because of that reason. So it's definitely probably what they're looking at. Maybe a smaller game which they can build upon, or I don't know, add existing features to older games. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll see some more information later down the line, or maybe at the Video Game Awards we'll see something.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Video Game Awards, I think like last show we did kind of, you know, we kind of touched on the Game Awards because it's round the corner, and I felt like we should discuss some of the nominations because it has been quite a hot topic of discussion, actually, the nominations. And, you know, there's some allegations being thrown around here and there about what's going on with the awards itself. And I just thought that let's just, you know, let's get into it. Let's look at the nominations and let's see what we really think about them. And obviously it's coming up soon, so we will have our thoughts on, you know, who won and everything. I don't really ever really take the Game Awards or anything like that super serious. Like, I really felt like it's more of a platform to premiere things now. But also, I guess it kind of does have a little bit of prestige because the gaming industry doesn't have anywhere else to get, recognized at, seeing as E3 is, pretty much dead now. And we've got the Golden BAFTA Awards, but that's not really...
The Golden Joysticks or
Golden Joystick. We've got Golden Joystick, and then we've got the Gaming BAFTA Awards.
Mm-hmm.
That's the three main awards we have in it. Yeah, so Golden Joystick, Gaming BAFTA Awards, and we have the Game Awards. So we have three main shows really to get recognized at. None of these shows are ever really, ran for the industry, like you can clearly see. And I think the Game Awards might be the closest thing because of how much involvement from everyone there is to do with these awards. But also, it is a lot of bullshit as well. Whenever we watch it, we're always like, yeah, this is some cringe. Like, or this is just not necessary. Or the awards, how they do them, they're like announce awards before the shows even began. And it just becomes one long, big advertisement in the end for like all these other games and all these other things that are going on around the Game Awards. And it gets a bit weird. So, let's just take a little rundown anyway. Let's just see what's going on. We'll start from the top. I don't know, Tom, have you got the list up as well? Or
yeah, I mean, if we're starting from Game of the Year,
Game of the Year, Game of the Year,
probably the most interesting thing to discuss.
This is recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Control, which doesn't even really, like, I don't know why everyone's pumping this game up so much, because from what I'm hearing, it's not really got a story structure and it's a non-linear game, but it's going to be updated like concurrently from now. But I heard I don't know what Remedy does. Like, I just don't know why it's so unsure of itself when it makes games. Like, Quantum Break was also supposed to be this game that was like concurrently running along with like a TV series, and that all just didn't work out. I feel like they have really ambitious like projects, and they just never ever really managed to hit the mark. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same with Alan Wake. Like, there obviously was some type of bigger plan with Alan Wake, but for some reason or what, like, it just never worked out. Like, now Control is like getting all of these nominations and awards, but I heard the game wasn't actually that good. So
I'm not entirely sure.
I don't really understand
where you heard that. But,
well, Control not being a good game.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that from several sources saying that the game came out and it was broken. A lot of people didn't really understand the story. I heard a lot of the story is ripped off from a previous story that's already been written. It's an internet legend. Apparently that's what the game is based upon a lot. There's a lot of things about this game that I've read about. I've not played it personally, so that's why I'm just talking about it from like all of the stuff that I've seen, and it's just not been very great things. But then on the other side, I've seen lots of people kind of like champion the game as well, but I don't really know what they're championing it for, because they're not saying it for gameplay features or anything. They're just talking about how the game is going to be updated.
I think it's just Remedy do always tend to create a game that is relatively good technically. I think creativity wise as well. I know that you want about taking story from elsewhere, but that, if you're inspired from another story elsewhere, even if you take certain parts of it.
It wasn't like that though, Tom. It's not like it wasn't like I was inspired. It was like a lot of the story was taken from this one short story, and it seems very similar to the premise of the game. That I'm not saying that it has been taken. I'm just relaying back what I've seen from other people online.
That's the same with most massive media.
Yeah, I was saying I totally agree by that as well. But that is a lot of the reason why a lot of people say that the game wasn't executed as well, because the story just could have been a little bit better. As I said, I've not played the game, so I would like to play the game myself to see if this story relates to what the story is supposed to be. Like, I don't really know what that argument was supposed to be about, but
so
that's what people were saying.
So basically, what we're saying is, Control is not going to be Game of the Year.
Well, it might be Game of the Year. Like, as I said, I've not played it, but from what I've seen initially of the game, I wouldn't say it was the game this year that delivered the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Not from what I've seen. And the one in this list as well is going to be Death Stranding. I still haven't played the game. Shockingly, no, I haven't, because I was supposed to get it. I'm not even going to tell the story again. Supposed to get it at one time, didn't get it. Now I'm debating whether to just get it myself. And I from what I've seen of Death Stranding, I couldn't say that's going to be Game of the Year either, because from what I've seen, it's not delivering the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields for everyone. I don't really know how to say, like, how to put all, like, I don't know what to say this year. There's not been a game that has come out that has been so solid, like, and hasn't had its fair share of issues. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's quite hard to say what's Game of the Year this year. Like, Resident Evil 2's in the list, which, fair enough, you can, but that is a remake of a game that's already exists. Like, all it was is, like, it was just remade. There was, the story didn't have to be reworked. Gameplays didn't really have to be reworked. It was Resident Evil being developed by the original team at Capcom. So, should that really be Game of the Year? I don't think so. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
I think that
I could say that could be Game of the
game.
Year. I could say that would be Game of the Year, but that's just it's basically Dark Souls in another setting. Could that really be Game of the Year? Like, I'm just looking at it from, like, the perspective of, like, everything. I'm just thinking, well, it's not that great and exciting, is it? Like, it's just Dark Souls once again, like, in another setting with ninjas in it more so.
I mean, technically, you can look at it two ways. You can look at the game that recognized a game that delivers the best experience creatively and technically for everyone, or just the game that delivers the best experience creatively and technically in general, from a sort of, it's the experience you're looking for, a technical experience. So is that game the experience that the game makes itself because it's so technically good, that's what we're looking for? Or is it the experience that the game creates for the players that are playing it, that they enjoy it more because of it being good creatively and technically?
Well, I'd say, like, a game like Sekiro, like, that is a game that relies, I would say, more so. I wouldn't say it relies. Actually, that's a lie. Its gameplay is a huge feature from, like,
it's a solid game technically. Creatively, like you said, it's similar to other games that are already out there, so it could, if you put Sekiro up against something like Bloodborne or Dark Souls, it's hard to distinguish which one of them would be the winner.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could easily interchange that out and say, like, well, like Cold Vein, because that's the kind of Dark Souls-esque game that I've been playing. But creatively and technically, I feel like it was much more impressive. Like, the way how the things that you could do in the game. So it's all. I feel like it's all your perspective, and it's all based on what kind of gamer you are. Like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I have zero to say on that game because I've only ever played the previous Smash Bros. I have not touched this one at all, so I can't say whether or not that's Game of the Year. But for me, no, it wouldn't be Game of the Year. It's just Smash Bros. Again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I there's nothing new that they really did with Smash Bros. Except for put every single possible IP you could ever think of in your life in the game. So, like, I don't know about that. And then you come to the Outer Worlds. Now, that is something that I would see is something that, you know, delivered a lot of new stuff, but also then again was falling back on having Fallout fans to enjoy the game because it had those core elements in it. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I feel like game of the year at this point for me, I didn't have a definite one this year. I was going to say Death Stranding, but even I'm going to take my bias away and be like, and recognize that might not be the best game. Do you know what I mean? Like, so last year I knew God of War was the best game of the year. Like, no one else could tell me that is an impressive game. Like, Red Dead should have no way should Red Dead have won best art direction or anything. Red Dead was trash. I sold Red Dead. Like, it was just a really bad game. It was boring.
Well,
it wasn't a really bad game. It was just really boring, and the pacing was. I just don't know what Rockstar did.
Well, it wasn't suited to you. Doesn't mean it wasn't.
No, yeah, it doesn't mean it wasn't suited to anybody else, and it wasn't a good game.
I mean, if you look, I mean, graphically wise, it's very good, but artistically wise, it wasn't very
positive. Like, you know, the reception of Red Dead is still not very positive. It's been a lot more negative compared to its first game and compared to GTA 5, which is still being played and is still being loved by everyone. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like Red Dead obviously didn't do as well as it was supposed to do in Rockstar's eyes. So I just don't know. I just have no idea. But if we're gonna put it down to game of the year, I feel like Control or Outer Worlds might get it.
Okay, it's interesting. I still think, not as biased as you, but I still think Death Stranding is going to win.
That is, in all fairness, if we're talking about experience in creative and technical fields, Death Stranding did it. They did that. It's a total brand new genre of game. We've never seen anything like it before. It should really win Game of the Year, but the reception at the moment is so negative. Like, I don't think it's going to win. I just don't think it is.
I would like it to. I think, like we said, it's creatively and technically the best game of the year.
Yeah. If I'm just trying to I'm just trying to take my bias away from it.
If we're talking something else, I would say Control is creatively and technically the best game after that, because Resident Evil 2 is a remake of an older game.
Exactly.
It's good. It's a good game, but it's still a remake. I don't think you can give a remake Game of the Year. I think that's a bit on the fence. Sekiro, very good game. Again, has very similar to other games that have come out there. Super Smash Brothers, like you said, I don't think there's anything that's drastically different to what's happened before, and it's just a big sort of increase in roster size and putting everything in you can. And then the Outer Worlds, I've not had the chance to play. I've heard it's a very good game, but also, it's very similar to things like Fallout, and creatively and technically maybe they've changed it a little bit, but I think if we're looking for things that sort of stand out and innovate and do something different and create that experience, Control and Death Stranding should be the two games that are fighting it out, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, when I was just talking through all of that, I was really trying to think about alternatives of these games that they've put up for Game of the Year, and other things that could be put there. Like you could easily put the Medieval remake in place of Resident 2 remake, because that was a really good remake this year. And Sekiro, as I said, Code Vein could have been put there. Super Smash Bros. You could have put, another Nintendo game there. I just feel like, there's been a lot of, interchangeable things there. I wouldn't say Smash Bros. Is up for Game of the Year. I don't know why that's there. Like, it seems really strange to me, because I wouldn't say that that's a game that I could call Game of the Year. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it just didn't seem right to me. Like, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate being Game of the Year, I just don't think that would really bode well with anyone. But I guess they have to put that there in it. Like, I don't know. But anyway, We'll move on to action game. I like this. I like this nice conversation we're having about the nominations. I thought it was going to be a lot more angry.
I think that's just you.
There's the action game for the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Right. Okay. So I'm already seeing some bullshit.
So what?
Because there's just so much in here that I just think like these are just different styles of games. Like I couldn't really call Call of Duty combat. That's just shooting. So that's an FPS. Like you got Gears in.
It's technically combat though. I mean,
you got Gears in there, which is a third-person shooter. You got Devil May Cry, which is a hack and slash. You got Astro Train, which is a shooter slash like third-person shooter. You got Apex Legends, and then you got Metro Exodus. Like, I just don't think I couldn't really say Metro Exodus is a full-blown action game. That seems more like an adventure game to me.
Nah, it's definitely an action game.
Nah, but I played the Metro games though, and they're not all action.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily. I think basically, it says action game, but it's not the best game that depicts Fast and Furious in a game. Like it is basically, having things like you combat. There's still combat in Metro, Call of Duty, Apex Legends. It's shooting. Devil May Cry is something that maybe I wouldn't put in the action, but again, it's technically still action on screen. Like I think basically they've tried to find a category for like most of them instead of just like FPS game or something like that.
Yeah, but it's weird you say that because like we scroll down and there's action adventure game and there's a whole different amount of games in there that just look very odd to be an action adventure. Like you'll see if you go down, but let's just call out these ones because there's not really much to say because we're not big action people. Apex Legends, I think I played it once. It was all right. It was alright. Like I don't really like EA that much. I don't really play their games. Respawn is a decent dev. I think they're in a bit of a position at the moment, being stuck with EA, but they're trying to do their best to make games. And yeah, that's about it really. Astral Chain, I've heard really great things about this game. Mm-hmm. It's a Nintendo Switch exclusive, so I won't get around to playing that for a while. I don't know if you're going to ever get it, but I heard it's really good. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It looks really, really, really great. Obviously, another remake or reboot or whatever you want to call this. So I don't know how I feel about it. Devil May Cry 5. Have not played Devil May Cry 5. I do have it. I just have not got around to playing it yet. Love the Devil May Cry series. Probably second behind Metal Gear. Yeah, I just haven't played it yet, but I heard it's a really good game. Really crap microtransactions in there. Obviously, that's Capcom doing whatever Capcom does. But I heard it's supposed to be a solid game. Gears 5 I heard was whack, but I haven't played Gears. But I know a lot of long-standing fans really did not like Gears 5.
I've not heard anything from Gears 5 since it got released.
Yeah,
whenever it got released, I don't know when it got released.
Because it wasn't. I just think they need to give it up now. I don't think they should be creating Gears games anymore.
I personally don't think. Out of this list, obviously you've got Metro Exodus next, which I haven't played, and obviously was the controversy surrounding that moving certain PC stores.
And Metro Exodus wasn't as good as the previous. Metro Exodus was. And it was shown to us to be this really incredible game, and I felt like they really missed the mark on certain things. Like they put way too much exploration in it. It's just, yeah. I couldn't. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't really call that an action game because it just doesn't really focus on the combat for me. That's why I'm saying. Like if we're really looking at some of these games, they don't. They're not focused primarily on combat. Like Metro, you do a lot of exploring about. That's why I just was a little bit weirded out. But I do get what you're trying to say because it's more of an action game than an adventure game. But
Metro is more of a
I would go along the line and say Metro's almost a little bit like an RPG, but like a first-person one, because you are playing the role of someone, and you do have all of these guns and abilities, and you do have to do a lot of exploration, and you have to do all these missions, and you have side quests.
It's an FPS action game.
It's just
I
I don't like the way how it's genred at the moment. Like
technically,
this is a bit weird.
Technically, it is an action game. I mean, action game isn't just saying I've got action in me. You know, I'm just action from start to finish. It's like having a bit of story in there that's focused maybe more towards the action side of it.
You see,
which Metro, you look at Metro and Gears, they do have that because it's more horror to a degree, but like you sort of there's still that story there, but it's like the story. If there wasn't the action, then the game would be a completely different game. Yeah,
I do really understand. That's what I'm saying. Like when playing Last Light Metro, I felt like it was just really, it was like a serious shooter. Like it wasn't an easy game to play, and it's still out there as like if you played the hardest mode. Apparently, it's one of the hardest FPS games like out. Like if you play it on the hardest, and when I was playing the game, it was really difficult. That's why like I feel like when I have in my head I have action game, I feel like that's a game that is really accessible. It's easy to play and pick up. And I feel like Metro isn't a game like that. I feel like it's a lot more of a serious game. It takes a lot longer to get into it. It's a very long game in terms of duration of hours. You know, say for example, comparing it to Call of Duty at the time came out, and their campaign was only 10 hours, where Metro was like 40. Do you know what I mean? So like, when comparing things like that together, I guess I've just got a little bit of like not a confusion, but a bit of like a conflict, thinking, well, I don't feel like that's really been explained as well, like, or has been, this genre has been put in is suitable for the game. But I see where you're coming from, though. Yes, I do see where you're coming from.
Well, it says the action genre focused primarily on combat, and Gears is built around combat. Metro Exodus, well, the Metro series in general, it's still built around combat because it's still built around the combat. FPS. It's like I don't know if you ever played Medal of Honor Frontline, I believe it was called.
I played most of the Medal of Honors on like PlayStation 2, and I played like the last one.
So a lot of the Medal of Honors on PlayStation 2, the war-based ones, the campaigns for that, pretty slow paced to a degree. Obviously, you feel like there's more action going on because you're in a war, but if you look at the pacing of that compared to Metro, the only difference is it feels faster because there's stuff going on around you, whereas in Metro there's not as much. So I think that's probably like the best way to look at it. It's primarily focused on combat, and there's still a lot of action that goes on in the game. Like that's the primary focus of a Metro game is action.
But like I'm reading the little passage for the next one, which we'll move on to now. Action adventure game.
Whoa.
For the best.
So
Karen,
who are we thinking for action game?
Oh, for action game, probably Apex Legends is probably going to win. I see Apex, or maybe I'm just because what you got to remember is like people are voting on this. So I'm going to think of what's going to be the most popular, like, and I feel like it's going to be either Apex Legends or Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Well, I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare will win, just from the feedback I've got from people.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
I feel like people will vote
Call
for
of Duty
that.
Modern Warfare. This game here is like the first game where I've had like people from school and people like that like going back and playing online again on PlayStation and stuff. So it's definitely brought certain people who haven't even picked up like any consoles in years to come back to the system.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think this Call of Duty is quite as shit as it is to say, like, Activision obviously know how to just get money out of people, because all you're going to do is remake, one of the most loved games in the series, and there you go, you got everyone back again.
So, next up we've got action adventure game, which is what you were going to speak about.
Yeah.
And this is for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving.
See, that is Metro. That's why it just doesn't make sense. That has everything in it. It has traversal in it. You have to run, you have to climb up things, and you have to solve puzzles. I don't get it. Like, that's why I'm just like, what's going on here? Look, you're not having me tell me that Borderlands 3 is this.
But I think personally Borderlands 3 might win this.
I feel like Borderlands 3 is an RPG. Well, why are we doing this? It's a looter shooter. Like, it's not an action adventure. If anything, that focuses more on combat more than anything. Because all they're ever constantly doing is giving you guns. I don't know. I don't know about that. Wouldn't say. I don't know. I haven't played this Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Like, I think it's a remake, but
let's just go through the 6 nominations. So we've got Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Now, you think that Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening you're not sure about because obviously it's a remake as such.
Well, it's a remake, and I would call it more of an adventure game. It's not really I don't know. I'm confused now because I look at every genre and I just think like, well, okay, I guess it could be put in there, but the margins of like why they're putting them into these categories are so slim. Like, there's so many other games you could have put in there. It's just like you're putting things in there for, just for the sake of it. Like Resident Evil 2 action adventure game, yeah, I get it, but it's a straight up horror game though. Like, it's not about it's not about traversing and stuff like that. It's about surviving. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hands down say that I don't think Control, Death Stranding, or Resident Evil will win this category.
No, they wouldn't. Like, it's probably going to be Sekiro or Borderlands 3. I can see winning. Yeah, but we'll move on. I
think Zelda's got a chance, but I don't think there's not as much push behind this as there was Breath of the Wild. So I think you're looking at maybe Sekiro for this one because it's nominated Game of the Year, might not win Game of the Year, and will likely win another category. That's what we tend to see.
Sekiro literally is in nearly every category. So, moving on. Art direction. For outstanding creative or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. So we've got Control, Death Stranding, Grizz, which looks really crazy, by the way. Sayonara Wild Hearts. The art style on that's really cool. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. And then Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that Death Stranding gets this one. I'm sorry. This is not even biased. Like, you can't look at a game like that and tell me that this ain't an outstanding achievement. Like, in technical, like an artistic design and animation. Like, just look at it. Like,
okay,
you could give it to probably any one of these people. Except for The Legend of Zelda. I don't think that's very outstanding, in my opinion.
I think that's
just a top-down 3D remake. Like, it just looks like, Nintendo probably going to knock that up within a couple months. So, like, anyone could get it on this list probably. Control, I still don't know because I still haven't seen enough of it, and I haven't played it yet to know that, like, this is, but
I don't think
from what everyone's telling me and what I'm seeing from the nominations, it looks like Control must be an outstanding game.
I don't think Control's art direction is as good as something like Death Stranding. It's not outstanding. Death Stranding has that. It's more original to a degree. Like, it's stuff you've not seen before. Sekiro, obviously, like, really good art direction to go historically wise, but again, I don't think it's outstanding.
No,
I think this is between Death Stranding, Grizz, and Sayonara Wild Hearts.
For sure.
And as much as I want Death Stranding to win, this because I feel like it's probably the best game. I think that the three art styles we're comparing here, art directions, are very different, and you might see Gris win this just based on the fact that the art style is very different and very original. So that's a outstanding art direction because it's an original piece of art that's made its way to be in a game.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, I would probably will go to something like that. Moving on to audio design, which we have I said already Death Stranding should win, but it's probably going to go to Grizzle, Sayonara, or Wild Hearts. Audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Now, for this, I don't really know at all. All I know is that like the Call of Duty soundtrack usually is pretty decent. I know it had a few good people working on it. Mike Dean was working on this soundtrack as well.
Let me just sort of give an overview of this category. So audio design, we have Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, and Sekiro again. Anyone could win this. I don't think we can really discuss the sound design.
It doesn't say we can't really discuss like.
There's no games that I've played and thought that sound design's amazing this year, or there's no games I see on this list that have gone, wow, that's incredible.
I bet you like, obviously, fuck it, this is the buyers coming in. I bet you Death Stranding's sound design is probably really hard. From playing previous Kojima games, he obviously always has like somebody really legit working on the soundtracks. Like for the last Metal Gear games, he had Harry Georgeson, I think it's Harry Gregson. I can't remember his name, man. I used to know his name because I loved the soundtracks for Metal Gear and that. And he used to have him working on all of them. So Kojima usually gets a decent person to work on the soundscape. And he had an original soundtrack to come out with Death Stranding as well that had like a bunch of different artists on there. So I guess maybe they did the most in terms of like trying to make like a soundtrack. And I can see Control having good sound design coming from Remedy. You know, they creators of Max Payne and Alan Wake, and Max Payne had brilliant sound design back on the PlayStation 2. Like, it was so creepy, like the baby crying in the background, the Max Payne theme, like very, very excellent sound design. Resident Evil 2, not quite sure if the sound design, obviously the sounds must have been used from the original game, but have been brought into, you know, obviously the modern generation. So I'm not quite sure about that. Sekiro, I'm not sure. And Call of Duty, as I say, it always usually has like a solid soundtrack. The advert was really cool and it had like a cool rock song. I can't remember who it is. I don't know if it was AC/DC, but they always usually have someone really like a heavy hitter that usually does like the soundtrack or like one song from Call of Duty to feature in the game. So it usually has good things to relate. Like when using Vietnam, I'm pretty sure like they play like You're on a Highway to Hell and shit like that, like, you know, like very reminiscent of the time of the Vietnam War and things like that. So it just depends. As I said, if we played all these games, I'm pretty sure we could come up with a better answer. I would want Death Stranding or Control to win. Okay. At this point, just because based on my previous experiences playing those games, I can give a much more. Yeah, obviously, I can give a much more informed opinion on them. How about you?
Have no actual preference on this one. I think it's too hard to judge. So I think it could go to either. Maybe not Gears 5, but either of the games apart from Gears 5.
We just clearly don't like Gears 5.
I've heard a lot of good things about all the games apart from that game, and I don't understand why
it's being nominated.
Why that's the one that I've not heard anything about yet. It's being nominated. I just thought I would have heard more about it, but
yeah,
no. So the thing is, there's a hell of a lot of categories for the video game awards. Now there's things like community support, content creator of the year, all the esports things. So we've got esports coach, event, team of the year, game of the year, host, player. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that, but I think we're really just going to focus on the main game stuff for this. That's not saying that we don't want to sort of discuss it in more detail, but we could sit and probably speak for about 3 hours on all these nominees, and we need to sort of cover the important things here, the big categories, the top sort of 7 or so in the general game categories. So we are going to move to family game, and this is the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. I'm
sorry, this is bullshit. Like, we...
Well, it's ironic that it's irrespective of genre or platform, considering that the only platform these games are on are a Nintendo platform.
What now? Come on now. Are you telling me no one has any issue with this, but everyone's got issues with Death Stranding being nominated?
There's also 5 games nominated for this when there's normally 6. And so, family games in this category, all published by Nintendo or made by Nintendo. You have Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. And Yoshi's Crafted World.
I'm sorry, Super Mario Maker 2 isn't even a game. You make your own Mario games.
It's still a game.
Alright, Nintendo stan.
Well, I do think that they're all good games, but I think there was also other family games that came out this year.
There was so many family games to come out. You telling me family games only came out on the Nintendo Switch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well,
this is just supporting the notion that the Switch is a system for a child.
This is the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Even though you can only get all these games on a Nintendo Switch. You can't play them on any other platform, but...
The Game Awards, everyone. The Game Awards. Oh gosh, great. Just scroll down to fighting game. If we're gonna look at anything to win, I really like Luigi's Mansion when I played it. So
I was gonna say the same thing. I think Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion should be winning that.
Super Mario Maker should not win because it's the exact same game as Super Mario Maker 1. It's got additional things in it that they've added.
Yeah, they've made some decent change, but I think overall, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is the best. It's got a lot of good features to it, especially for a family game. I'm happy if that wins. And
Ring Fit Adventure is not even a family game. That's a workout. So I don't know what that's doing.
A fitness game.
that's the gym. I don't even know what that's doing on there. Like, I heard it's really hard to play, and kids can't really play it that much. Like, so like
action adventure family fitness game.
Fuck. So we got fighting game. I don't even want to read any of these because this
is a horrible lineup.
Bullshit. This is bullshit. Dead or Alive 6. Jump Force.
Oh, Jump Force was pretty good.
Jump Force was just okay, but I wouldn't say it's like best fighting game of the year. Okay, Mortal Kombat 11 should get something, and Samurai Showdown is
should Mortal Kombat 11 get something?
Well,
considering the methods they took to try and make money off the game.
Yeah, I don't agree with what they did. I don't agree with Mortal Kombat 11. Well, I don't agree with the publishers, Warner Brothers. Well, I'm pretty sure we, going on to TV and film soon. What's called it? Warner Brothers just doesn't know what they're doing. And Mortal Kombat 11 was a good game. But yeah, you just reminded me of all those tactics. I don't know who I want to win. Go Smash Bros.
I mean, there's only one, really. There's only one game that I think probably deserves to win, which is Smash Bros.
Yeah, go Smash or Samurai Showdown. That's not too bad. Jump Force just wasn't good enough to be like a fighting game of the year. And Dead or Alive 6. Who plays that? That game is literally is a boob simulator. Like, it's not real. It's not a fighting game. It's not good. No.
I personally thought Jump Force was a good game, but
Oh no, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. It was just okay. It wasn't what I was expecting out of a fighting game. I've played a lot of anime fighting games over my time.
I think it was more,
and it just wasn't as fun as I expected it to be.
It wasn't a standard fighting game, was it, as such? So there's differences there, but I think overall, Smash Bros. Ultimate should be winning that instead of Game of the Year. It should be winning just Fighting Game of the Year.
Yeah, like, please, if you're gonna make like an anime fighting game again, can we just stop making games like Naruto Ninja Storm? We've had them for like 8 years. We don't want another one. Just make a normal fighting game, please. Like, I thought Jump Force was going to be different. No, it was still an arena fighter with the same mashing buttons to do a combo. It was bullshit. I just wasn't expecting that out of a game. So if we can try and work on something a little bit better, that would be great. Mm-hmm. Fresh indie games. Recognizing a new independent studio that's released its first game in 2019, presented by a sandwich shop.
Mm-hmm. No names mentioned.
We ain't giving no promo. It's time for the rate went up. We ain't giving no promo no more to anyone. For Disco Elysium. I have not heard of that game. I have not played that game, but I'm assuming that, there is a lot of great indie titles. Every single game has a striking different art style, which I love. Mm-hmm. So, so there's that. I'm going to check all these games out after, actually. I know some of them, and some of them I don't. Nomada Studios for the game Grizz. Dead Toast Entertainment for My Friend Pedro. Really sick game that is. Like, it's really fun. Mobius Digital for Outer Worlds. Or Outer Wilds. Mm-hmm. Not Outer Worlds, sorry.
Yeah, Outer Wilds.
Sorry, Outer Wilds. So, game that sounds very similar, but it's a different game. Mega Crypt for Slay the Spire, which looks like a little nice high quality pixel dungeon crawler by the looks of it. And then we have House for the Untitled Goose Game, which I heard is really good, but mm-hmm. I've not had a chance to play it. So what are we thinking with that Tom? Who do you think we're going to win? I have no idea. So
depends what we're basing it on.
Well, these are all their first games in 2019, so like,
yeah,
I couldn't really call it. Like, these are all brand new studios, so who's to say what's going to win in it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It depends, because the award is basically just recognizing a new independent studio. So it's what's the criteria for that? Is it the best game out of those things? Is it how they handle everything else?
Every single studio has released something totally different and unique, and it has been released to a very high standard as well. That's the one thing that we need to never forget: the high standards that these independent companies and studios are releasing games at, compared to these AAA companies that are releasing half-broken games and then telling everyone they're going to release the update for it 3 years later. So I think I maybe Dead Toast Entertainment for My Friend Pedro, because it's that game's sick. So I would like them to win. Okay.
So if you're going to pick them, then I'll pick not them. I'll pick House for the Untitled Goose Game, because that has been a game that, to be fair, I've been following the progress of for around 2 years.
Oh, sick.
Well, maybe longer than that, actually. But I knew that game was coming out a long time ago, and it always looked interesting, and it's a relatively, simple game, but it's a good game.
It does what it's supposed to do.
It's a solid effort. I do think it's going to be between the two that we've chosen, but I'm going to go for House, just so we're not picking the same one all the time.
Cool. We'll move. Oh my god, there's just so much. Like, we're not going to be able to. We're not going to be able to talk about any other like gaming stuff for a while.
Game direction is not.
We're gonna start blitzing through these last ones now. I thought we'll pick out important ones, but other ones we'll blitz through. So game direction, I feel like that's really important. awarded for outstanding. I feel like they try and make it important though. Like awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Isn't that just game of the year?
Is that just not game of the? That's what I would say. Is that not just game of the year?
So let's move on. Independent game, because that's probably more important. Outstanding
Wait,
creative.
you what's called it? You missed out one. Games for Impact.
Yep, I did. Okay.
For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. We all like games like this.
There's a lot of games in here actually that I do like. Concrete Genie, Life is Strange 2, Sea of Solitude. I do like them.
Life is Strange is... I've spoke very fondly about that game. I do really like Life is Strange. Life is Strange 2 wasn't what I expected out of a sequel from them, but still a very good game though.
I can't say I played... So, nomination-wise, we have Concrete Genie, Gris, Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude. I have not played Gris or Kind Words.
Neither have I. I haven't... I don't know the premise of Concrete Genie, Gris, or Kind Words, but I know the messages behind Life is Strange 2 and Sea of Solitude. So just because I know of the messages behind those two games, I would prefer those two games to win. But that's not to say I feel like all of these games are great for, actually trying to put a message within their games, which I think is missing from games a lot of the time these days. Mm-hmm. So, just kudos to these games in the first place. I didn't know Grizz had a message behind it. So,
yeah, Concrete Genie is more about it's the kid that like paints on the wall and stuff, and the gameplay revolves around that. To sort of take him away to, it's an interesting game. I don't want to say too much about it, but
okay.
I think for me it's Concrete Genie or Sea of Solitude. I really do like the message of Sea of Solitude. I feel like it portrays what it's trying to put across very well.
I don't get if I'm mistaken, is Sea of Solitude about was it about depression?
It has elements of that, yeah.
Elements, or it deals with a magnitude of different kind of like mental health issues, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that's a really. I always think that this section is quite interesting because these are some games that I've never heard of, but I like playing games that have a nice message behind them.
It's games that we don't see nominated in all the other important categories.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Games that we don't see, like these. We're getting down to all of these crazy games that I've never seen, and they look so much more interested in some of the the main, the AAA titles. So so we'll move on. You was about to lead us into independent game.
Yeah, independent game. We have Baba Is You, Disco Elysium, Katana Zero, Outer Wilds, and Untitled Goose Game.
Interesting. Katana Zero looks hard just from the art style. Disco Elysium, as I said, I've not heard of, but looks very interesting. I like the style of the gameplay or whatever this is portraying.
Yeah, so this is for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. For me, hands down, I have to say Outer Wilds. I have seen this game and played a little bit of it, and honestly, you would be surprised that this wasn't a published game. Like if someone said to you this is an indie game, well, I'm not sure if it's that good. Like it's not game of the year, but it's from an independent studio, their first ever game. It's a really, really solid thing to put out. I mean, you could compare it to Outer Worlds. It has similarities, but it's more of a exploration type game to a degree.
Hold on, I'm looking up on all of it, and wow, it just looked really, the gameplay loop around it, and yeah, it's a really good game. This is it seems like it's very interesting the way how they've I can't really say I can't say it without spoiling the entire game though, so that's why I'm just not saying it. But I would say go and check it out. From what I've read, looks very interesting and it's very good. So it's an open world exploration game. Well, that's as much as I can say.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean though. I think everything behind it, if we're taking all these games into account that have been nominated, they're all very good in their own right. But I think that one, to me, for an independent game studio, is outstanding creative wise and technically wise. I think that's the best game out of that, like outstanding. You could say Katana Zero is creatively very good, and Entitled Goose Game is the same. Baba Is You is creatively different and very good, and then Disco Elysium as well. But the one that stands out, I think, if you show it to anyone, will be Outer Wilds. I'd be surprised if they didn't win that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be either Katana Zero, or now that what I've read about the Outer Wilds, or the Outer Wilds, because if we're talking about, creative and technical achievement, there's definitely obviously been some technical and creative achievements done amongst all these games, but for me especially, the ones that jump out to me is Katana Zero and Outer Wilds.
I'm gonna go.
Let's just blitz through this. We don't really.
I'm gonna go multiplayer game. So we're gonna go for multiplayer game, ongoing game, role playing game, sports game, and strategy game. So we've got 5 left. The main ones. So multiplayer game, we have Apex Legends, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty, Tetris 99, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2. This is for an outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op, massively multiplayer experiences.
Well, you can get Division 2 out of here. That wasn't good. That wasn't a good game online. So why is that there? I think there could have been other multiplayer experiences on here other than these games.
Yeah, there could have been. I think this had been a very packed category. I do think, to be fair, Tetris 99 has a good chance of winning this.
I think Tetris 99 is really good because obviously I know of what it is. I think that is a very good concept. I like the way how they did it. Tetris is still relevant in this generation. And I think off the strength of that alone, to have Tetris still being playable and thinking of new ways how to play Tetris is amazing. So I couldn't really say Borderlands has been done. We've had Borderlands online for the last, how many years has Borderlands been online now? For a long time. So I don't know, man. Call of Duty, what really? Best multiplayer, for the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Apex Legends, they did something new, I would say.
Yeah, I think Apex have got a chance at winning this as well. It's between them and Tetris.
It would have been an absolute joke if Fallout and Anthem was on there.
Well, I don't think Anthem is a game anymore, so I don't think that counts. There is other things like narrative and performance, score and music, but we're going to move on to ongoing game. So this is for a game, for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Hands down for me, I don't even have to mention the people or the nominations for this. Fortnite is going to win and should win.
Yeah, Fortnite, yeah. As I said, this is the one thing that we've always maintained on this. We don't like Fortnite as a game. We don't play it. It's obviously not for us. I'm not the player base. I'm not the person to be playing Fortnite. I'm not who they're marketing to. But it's very impressive what they've done with this game. This whole, ending the game and everyone thought it was over and bringing it back and it's a whole new world. And there's a lot of theatrics involved, and to do that on an online game is quite impressive. So, I got to give it to Fortnite. Although I would give another perspective on certain other games. Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege has been massively supported over the time. Like Ubisoft has done an amazing job of supporting that game and making sure that Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege is not even anywhere near dying at this point.
That is true.
Final Fantasy 14 was literally brought back from the ashes. Like they did like it was literally called, Universe was rebirthed. Like another game that is done excellent to reboot its whole series because it failed the first time round and managed to create a massive multiplayer online game that has no sign of slowing down as well. Destiny 2, Bungie's have managed to somehow revive their game again. I can't fault none of these people on this list at the moment because they've done their absolute best to actually make a live service.
Mm-hmm. Which I totally agree with. I just think Fortnite did it outstandingly. They do it just a bit better.
Yeah, just a bit better, and plus you don't have to buy Fortnite, so you kind of should win in it. Like,
yeah, but I mean, Apex, you don't have to buy Apex, but I think that I think Fortnite was the catalyst for people to do certain things like
even
this.
Apex. Remember, they had their little gripes here and there where they had a few items that they put into loot boxes, and
that's very true.
They had their own controversies, and we haven't really heard anything like that from Fortnite. So if we're going to talk about ongoing games and that is allowed for the player experience to say positive, I would say Fortnite has to have it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at who's going to be voting for this as well, and the popularity player base. It's in the bag, really. You shouldn't have to.
Exactly. We'll move on to role-playing games real quick.
Mm-hmm.
For the best game design with a rich player character customization, progression included massively multiplayer experiences. Now, I wouldn't really agree with that. I wouldn't say that a role-playing game has to include massively multiplayer experiences. But, it's weird because I'm looking on this list, Final Fantasy is on there, Monster Hunter World Iceborne is on there. That's a specific, update. Outer Worlds, Kingdom Hearts 3, and the Disco Elysium.
Mm-hmm. And Kingdom Hearts 3 and Outer Worlds, and possibly Disco Elysium aren't massively multiplayer experiences as far as I know. So
yeah, but
it does say including. It doesn't necessarily say.
Yeah, that's true. Kingdom Hearts, a game that I was yet to play, and there's just so many games I've just yet to play. Kingdom Hearts 3, another series that is up there, but I heard that Kingdom Hearts 3 just it wasn't as good as people thought it was going to be when it initially launched, and they've got some DLC coming out for Kingdom Hearts actually soon.
I think the problem is just the wait that happened and the.
Yeah,
you could go back and play the old Kingdom Hearts and see the drastic change in UI and functionality, and it's possibly going to be the same with Shenmue, which we spoke about last show.
Shenmue's come out and it ain't looking too good for Shenmue. I've looked at some gameplay of it, thought about picking it up, and it just it looks pretty. It looks like a Dreamcast game.
That's the problem, because it's trying to be to a degree, because it has to be.
It doesn't fucking work, man. It just doesn't work. Like the voice acting's really bad, the animation is really bad. I'm like, oh shit, man. You can't still be making games like this. I'm just putting 4K textures on it.
Mm-hmm. So
weird.
Out of this, I think Outer Worlds has got to win one category, and I think if it's going to win one category, role-playing game is probably where it should be.
Yeah, I would say that Outer Worlds should maybe win this. I wouldn't mind giving it to Monster Hunter, knowing that game has been massively updated over time as well, and has been concurrent. Players still play that all the time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Moving on. We're not going to do score and music. Sports and racing. It's the same shit every time.
Whoa.
But it usually is, though. It will usually be FIFA and Pro. one kind of like cartoon arcade game, which is what we have on the list, and then 2 other random driving games.
Mm-hmm. So the best traditional and non-traditional sports racing game. Crash Team Racing didn't really get a great reception. Can't see that winning. Dirt Rally 2. Dirt Rally's not too bad. eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer 2020. F1 2019. It's the F1 games. To be fair, pretty decent.
Shout out the Codemasters being on there twice.
And FIFA 20. For me, this is between F1 2019 and eFootball PES 2020.
Yeah, I could say that. I wouldn't mind Dirt Rally winning, you know. Obviously, rest in peace to Colin McRae and all that, but like, I wouldn't mind Dirt Rally winning though. Like,
I think F1 has.
I used to love the dirt games.
And
I used to
has a good career mode now with good progress. I think it has more of that. There's more to it, basically. Yeah, I've played Dirt Rally 2 and F1. F1 is better.
F1's better.
Mm-hmm.
The F1 games are usually brilliantly made. Like, has like such a mad level of detail on it. You just be like kind of like surprised, like there's like a driving game out there that's exactly like F1. Like,
oh yeah, well, they have the career mode now, which they've had for a few years. Which is basically like your journey mode in FIFA or something like that. Really good, and they put a lot of work and effort into it. So I think I wouldn't be unhappy if they won, but for me as well, I do have to hope that PES wins because, in my opinion, it's always probably the best game that comes out sports-wise each year.
Yeah, if you've got it, you got to get on your PES.
Although there was some issues with it. Still is probably some issues.
Yeah,
with
there is always issues with it, but never more issues than there is with FIFA. But we're not here to have that conversation, though, are we? So
no, but I mean, okay, if we're going, what should win? I think F1 is probably the best game in this category to win.
Because I like Dirt Rally games, and I like Subaru Imprezas. I'd just say a Dirt Rally 2. Like,
I think PES personally, I want to win, but I'm not sure if it will. If FIFA wins this, then it's a joke. But moving on, strategy game.
Fucking hell.
Do
you know any of these games on the list except for I know Tropical, that's all I know, and Total War.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem. I don't know Age of Wonders. I know 800. Ubisoft. Is this what Skull and Bones turned into?
No, I know it was more of a building game. Like turn-based building. For me, yeah. Age of Wonders is okay. I don't think it should be winning. Anno 1800 is pretty decent, but maybe not the best. Fire Emblem, it's just Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem's always been a strategy game. Like, so I can't really see
it's always good. To be fair,
it's usually always decent. Like Fire Emblem. So
Total War 3 Kingdoms was a pretty good game. To be fair. I've not played much of it. I've seen a lot of people play it, and to be fair, it's a solid entry in a strategy game.
Those games usually they have a blueprint now, and they know how to make games like that. And it's not the quality's not going to be off of those kind of games. And you can get a great quality out of a game like that. Just because
Tropico, then obviously Tropico 6, but. And Wargroove by Chucklefish, who I think Chucklefish were the same people that made Stardew Valley.
Oh,
so I'm going for Total War 3 Kingdoms.
I don't play strategy games that much, but I know you do, so yeah, Total War then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
or Fire Emblem, but I know that Fire Emblem has been doing this for a long time, like strategy turn-based games, so I don't know, I don't. So we've got the next one. We've got none of us have these systems, but I know that you played We've actually knew. I tell you, I played 3 games on this list though.
You can play some of the VR and AR games without VR.
Yeah, as I'm saying, I played 3 of these games on this list. I've played Beat Saber, which is really fun. Well, we'll go down the list. For the best game experience playable in the virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. So we have Asgard's Wrath. This is an Oculus game. We've got Blood and Truth, which is a Sony game. We've got Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, and Trover Saves the Universe. I feel like No Man's Sky should get a dub, so let's give it to No Man's Sky.
Why are we giving No Man's Sky?
Just because I feel like they deserve a W now. Like, all of the updates and that they've done, they've not got any awards for them yet. So, like, I feel like maybe the time, enough time has passed now, and No Man's Sky can get 1 award, like, for VR and AR.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're going for best game experience playable in virtual reality, Beat Saber is pretty good. It is good to play in virtual reality. Blood and Truth I've not played, but it did look relatively good. Just from what I've played, though, Trover Saves the Universe.
Yeah, you did tell me that was a really good game. I haven't played it.
It's not really a good VR experience, probably, but it's a good game, and I think it should win something. So,
okay, cool. Actually, no, I did. I played it. Yeah, that's why I said I played through the game. I played it a little bit at yours. So yeah, I played. Yeah, I understand. I wouldn't really see how that could work in VR though, but I guess
it definitely works in VR. Like you definitely be able to see more. It would be a different experience in VR, but a better experience. So yeah, I think it's a interesting way of looking at creating VR games anyway. So I think that's maybe why it should win.
Interesting.
More than just it's funny.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of the Game Awards, and
it's not the end of the Game Awards.
No, I mean, like, that is the end of the nominations anyway, at least. Like, the Game Awards is yet to frigging come, and that's going to be a long one as well, because I'm pretty sure that show's about 5 hours long. Yeah, we had so many other things to talk about in the gaming section. That's all going to have to come another time. We had all sorts of crazy stuff about China taking over Europe now. The Switch is coming to China. Lots of stuff. A lot of
basically
things shut down.
Just China is what we're...
Just China doing themselves. There's a game where you play Jesus in called I Am Jesus Christ. That's all to come next week. Yeah, so we're going to move on to films and TV real quick.
Is it too late to change my Game of the Year prediction?
Nah.
Okay. I Am Jesus Christ is my Game of the Year, though.
Nah, if we're going to keep it realistically, the Bee Simulator is going to be my Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming soon,
It's already out on some platforms.
Whoa, it's already out?
Mm-hmm. Moving on to films and TV then.
Bridging the gap between music and gaming. 808s and Joysticks.com.
Yeah, we have some news that we didn't get into last week regarding...
This news has not even been last week. Have you read the date on it? Like...
Yep, that was last week. So the Witcher series is coming to Netflix very soon, actually now.
Yeah.
Probably very soon after this airs. And Netflix have already...
Wait. Isn't it coming on Christmas Eve?
Yes, sometime around Christmas. Not sure of the exact date, but sometime around Christmas. 20th of December.
Oh, okay.
So relatively soon. And yeah, we have heard the news that season 2 has already been greenlit, and Netflix are going to be greenlighting season 2 of the Witcher series with Henry Cavill in. So if you don't like what you see on the 20th of December, tough luck. You have another season coming after that. That's interesting. You have I've just seen that you've put some posters which we got this week showing off the upcoming Birds of Prey film. It's interesting because obviously off air we've discussed the new Harley Quinn animated series that's just come on. DC have released. It's a R-rated R-rated series, and it revolves around like Harley Quinn deciding whether she wants to be with the Joker or not, and then doing her own things. So you do see that transition from that old animated Harley Quinn in the red and black suit to sort of how they're currently designing her now with the mallet and everything and the baseball bat. It's interesting. Very interesting how they change it all, but it's a really decent sort of series you can sit down and watch. There's only one episode, or 2 episodes so far, but it's just like a light-hearted adult series that you can watch, you know. Well, I say adult series or adult cartoon, that's probably not the right wording at all, but R-rated series, yeah, something along the lines of like Archer, South Park, the Deadpool series we were meant to get.
Oh, don't FX. Even just don't make me go and cry in a corner, man. Like,
But I mean, if this is a success, then we might see that making a comeback at some point on Hulu. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Well, where is the Harley Quinn R-rated show? Where is that?
It's just hosted on DC.
Okay.
It's a DC Universe thing, so.
Well, whenever DC like gets signed up to, well, it's a part of Warner Brothers, so I think Warner Brothers is supposed to be doing No, they're gonna be on HBO, aren't they? Because HBO is owned by Warner. So I think that's where all the Warner stuff will go now. It's very confusing these days.
Mm-hmm. It
to know where all your stuff's going to go to.
May come to Netflix in the UK, considering things like Titans have come to Netflix in the UK before, which
that's true.
Are available on that sort of platform.
Or it could come to TV in a way. Some series get like picked up for like randomly on BBC or All 4 get it sometimes to get like international shows. So,
I think it might be unlikely, but Channel 4 might pick something like this up.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I'm hoping the success of something like this will spur on other animated shows. Because I don't know if you want to get into this poster, but the whole thing of it sort of just looks like some mid, man. Like, I just don't think it looks good. Like, I'm not feeling very good about this Birds of Prey film. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think my face tells the answer to that. But yeah, actually, for those of you who can't see, I also feel the same. I think the artwork's really cool. Like, it's really good artwork. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like the styles. But I just don't know if this is the film that it's meant to be or should be. I don't know. They just never seem to get it right, do they, DC, with things like this?
No, because like I'm just like looking at it. Yeah, I'm like, yo, this ain't Harley Quinn. Like, this doesn't seem like, are they trying to do like a reimagining or something? Like,
basically, yeah, I believe so. The animated series links perfectly into that, where the original Harley Quinn is red black sort of lycra suit with diamonds on, with a big mallet and the jester hat. So they then reimagined her like breaking up with the Joker in the animated series, with her short hair that she's dyed in different colours, and like skimpy outfit with a baseball bat instead, like Suicide Squad version. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're just trying to like over sexualize it or make it look cool and colourful so they can sell it to people more. But
like, the film itself, like going from Suicide Squad, which by the way, like I've never really fully watched because it was just god awful. Like it was just. Shit was bad, man. Like it was just. I was watching. I was just like, man, this is worse than the Justice League film. I don't think it could be that bad. Like,
I will say that some of the screenshots we've got of the film do look like I don't know. They don't look like a full AAA production. It looks like something you see out of like Austin Powers.
Oh my gosh. I was just about to say the same thing. Like, don't you think it just looks like a little bit like a cheap film, like a TV film, a little bit like?
Yeah,
I feel the same way. You know, I do. I feel the exact same way. Where I felt like it doesn't look like there's real money been put into this film. Like the kind of put.
No, I feel bad because I like Margot Robbie and her portrayal of Harley Quinn, but I feel like they just, yeah. There's just something lacking there. There's something lacking there.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I see it. Like, I see what they're trying to do and everything, and Birds of a Prey, and I just think when you start looking at source material and you start looking at what could have been and then
I don't even think the source material is relevant to this film at all. Like,
well, Ewan McGregor is going to be Black Mask, and I don't know if you know who Black Mask actually is.
But like, I don't understand why
he's a dark guy, you know. Like,
yeah, I don't understand why they can't do some sort of origin story on this or something like that. Like I don't understand where they're taking the character. It's weird. It seems like they're trying to lean too much into political feminism stuff with it, and it doesn't work as much as where they should. Like, you shouldn't change the basis of a character to fit that because it never works. We see it all the time. It never works. Like, it's just independent on her own anyway. That's the whole point in Harley Quinn. But this is just like this photo. It's like she's in this big
corporations. Gold. This is the corporations teaming up and be like, hey, let's do everything that we can possibly to try and appeal to everyone around the world. Like, let's try and get to all audiences.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're alienating the ones who actually like the comic books. Like, I've spoken to other people and how they felt about this Birds of Prey film, and they just didn't feel. They were just like, yeah, it's obviously not going to be good because of the way how they've actually done the film and the way how Suicide Squad was done, and the story's all messed up. And I feel like they easily could have managed to create captivating characters and also put forward this message of, you know, that we can have this strong, you know, team of like badass like women that are also superheroes or, you know, like kind of, you know, anti-heroes, and we don't need like a whole host of like, you know, dudes like backing them all the time. It could have really been done. Do you know what I'm saying? It really could have been done, but I just can't see it. Do you know what I'm saying? I just really can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it coming out and being a great film, and it's not even down to the point of like, we're not saying that, oh, it's just going to be crap because it's a film with all women in there or anything like that, because I feel like that is also what other people try and argue as well. Like people are hating on the film because like it's just because it's a film with all women in there, but no, that's not the case. We want a good film to be made as a whole, and DC are just not making good films. Like Marvel will probably definitely be able to get a film like this right. Like even that little scene at the end of Endgame when all of like the different like women were fighting together, that was already hard. I was like, okay, they're obviously going to make a film out of this, aren't they?
That is probably better than this whole film.
That whole scene right there has been better than everything I've seen from Birds of Prey. So like, I'm trying to see here, how can that work in this film? You know what, yeah, because I feel like we kind of have to make it our job. Like we need to do a lot more better of like watching everything so we can have like a proper opinion on shit. Yeah, I will go out and watch this film just because I really need to see, you know, what's going on.
Go and watch them just to see like what, like you said, like what's it like? Like I went out and watched Aquaman on release, Captain Marvel. You know, that Aquaman was a really good DC film. Captain Marvel's a really good
point.
Good.
Just reading this here. Birds of Prey as well, like the comics. Like Harley Quinn isn't even in Birds of Prey. She fights against them most of the time.
So how do you know that's not the twist of the film?
I don't know what the twist of the film is going to be, but carry on anyway, Tom. No.
Yeah. So yeah, DC can make good films. And you know, it's been proven that a superhero film with women leads can do well. Wonder Woman is a combination of both of that, a good DC film with a woman lead. This is just trash.
It's just not good.
So we're describing the photo that we're looking at on IGN. And basically Margot Robbie stood in the middle of the Birds of Prey in this really sort of, you know, cool jumpsuit, diamond down, gold, with like some gold boots on, a hair up, pink little like crop top roller skates. Looked pretty good, to be fair. And then everyone else around her, it's just as if the costume budget ran out on that, and it's just like, oh, what have we got in the wardrobe? Like, the girl on the, like, it looks like they could be in like The Walking Dead on the right, and then on the left they're from like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then in the middle it's just like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, like the way they wait, like the art style, everything of it, like it just all doesn't seem to be adding up and working together. It looks like Suicide Squad again. Like most of DC films, a lot of last minute rewrites happen, a lot of last minute cuts happen, and a lot of last minute editing happens with these kind of films. And I feel like this is the kind of shit that makes a film not look or feel cohesive when I'm watching it.
I feel like they can't seem to do these characters right for things like that. See, Aquaman was really, really good because they had this whole thing where everything was designed and matched and it all looked good. Wonder Woman's relatively the same. But then with this, because they're trying to bring in different characters, I think they really struggle with what to do with the Joker and Harley Quinn now. Like, by not maybe making them too realistic. Like, it's really hard to see what they do with it.
Right, say that. Well, as I said, we were talking about DC, and they're doing like, they've double back now, and you know, now we're just not sure if we're ever going to get any more DC black films now from that label. Joker 2 is not being spoken about. Like, there's all these things that they're doing as a company when you should just be focusing on making those types of film. Like, the Joker did so well. You know, the much more darker, grittier takes on films are working now. Leave Marvel to it. They can have the kid stuff. If DC was to ever have a chance of winning this war, they had to go with the gritty side. I don't know why they didn't do that. I just don't know why they just didn't see it, look at it and be like, you know what, we'll do the 15 and 18 films because we have the roster that can carry that as well.
I don't think that's necessarily the case of a war either. You know, I agree with what you're saying there. I always say it. I don't think it's necessarily the case of a war, though. I think it's like DC need to realize that they need to find a separate area for that. Like, their animated stuff is brilliant and does all that family stuff. Live action wise, like they have, their characters are a lot darker than Marvel characters. and they are, like, you look at Batman, Joker, Harley Quinn, you look at things like, maybe not Aquaman. Aquaman is just Fishman. But you look at all the characters that are in the sort of DC universe to a degree. Even things like Titans, it's very dark and emotional, hard-hitting backstories. Marvel, you don't really see it as much with that. Like, it's normally like, oh, Spider-Man got bit and this is why he's a Spider-Man. It's not like Batman's parents got killed and then he trained his whole life to be a Batman. It's like Joker's absolutely insane. And Marvel, it's like, yeah, there's a big purple guy that just wants to kill everyone. Like,
yeah, well, see, and that's where this is where the problem comes in with the film universes, though, because that's the one thing that I didn't like about the films. They made Thanos look like such a bitch in that film. Like, he's horrific. He's horrific in the comic books. Yeah, he is horrific. He's one of the most feared Marvel characters of like all time. Like in comic books, like he is unkillable. Like the way how they murked him was not the way that they're supposed to murk him anyway. Like, he's very difficult to beat. They wouldn't have never ever beat him in hand-to-hand combat. He is a titan, for God's sake. Like, he's the level down from a god in the Marvel universe. So for him to get defeated that way,
but he did get defeated by a god. So
yeah, he did get defeated by a god.
Spoilers.
But like, he's known as the Mad Titan. Like, if you read the comic books, and don't get me wrong, like Marvel has some really horrific, some really, really horrific stories and one shots that they've done that are very comparable, if not worse, to DC's comics, but they don't ever get they don't get adapted to animation or films because they're just way too hard to develop over. Like, you got to think to yourselves, like, really, some of our first MCU films was Blade. The Blade film, that was in 18. Blade is a superhero in the Marvel universe. Everyone forgets that.
Wasn't an MCU film.
It wasn't an MCU film, but it was one of the first films to be created for a Marvel film, for a superhero. And that was an 18 film. Like, why did Marvel make the Spider-Man film then? Why didn't they make Blade? That was in like the 2000s or 1999. I remember Blade coming out because I wanted to watch Blade and I couldn't. I wasn't allowed because it was too violent.
But
I think Marvel has the IP there that they could come out with. If they tried to do shit like that, that's it. It's over. And they're already going to... Disney Plus are doing it. Trust me, on Hulu, we're gonna be getting TV series that are going to be 18 plus and like 15 and stuff like that, that we're going to get from Disney.
We had the Ghost Rider that was cancelled, but we still have other series coming to Hulu regarding the Marvel property.
I would say, it's fine because we've got Blade coming as a TV series. We've got Moon Knight, he's gonna get a TV series. He's not anybody to really play with, and there's a bunch of other people that they've announced, and they haven't given age ratings so far. We don't know if they're going to be on Hulu or Disney Plus. I really think that Disney have a great chance here to also take that darker / more mature market as well as the kid market, because
which is
at the moment
a problem.
Yeah, which is a very big issue, obviously, because I feel like DC have no foothold. I feel like at one point they really were trying to rival the Marvel universe by creating the DC extended universe. And then when they cancelled that, I think that was really where Warner Brothers just took a look and thought, all right, forget it. We're just going to make separate films of our most popular people. Margot Robbie's popular. Harley Quinn was popular out of the Suicide Squad film. We're going to get people to come out and watch it. Let's see what happens. I feel like it's going to be a flop.
I agree.
We'll see. We'll see, though. If they do the marketing right and they get it right, we could... if they do a really sick soundtrack, they might get it right.
This film's not... It's not. I'm sorry. I can just... It's just that shot of the film. I can just tell it's not right. Like, you know when you can look at something aesthetically, it doesn't seem to go together, and you're just like, well, unless it's a bit in the film where in the film could that happen. No, it just does not seem viable in my head that this is going to be a success. If I was going to do it, you know, she's got a hyena, for God's sake. Like, if you're going to do anything, you make it as colourful as shit and just go wacky as hell. But it seems like they've done that with her and not everyone else.
I don't even know.
But then they've done it with all the posters.
Even though a great example right now of mature superhero, well, / like, you know, in that realm, Watchmen. Oh my God, series is amazing. Everyone go out. I would go out. If you haven't watched it or not, or if you haven't watched it yet, Tom, go and watch it. It's crazy. I really do enjoy. I love the film. It wasn't the best film, and it gets a lot of shit, but I really enjoyed it when I was a kid. I didn't understand it very well, but I just liked all of the crazy stuff that happened in it. I thought it was a very different take on superheroes. And then watching the TV series now, it's very, very different.
Yeah, I do want to go and watch it, to be fair. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. The full title of the film is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Yeah. I mean, it's out February 7th. Go watch it if you want to. I will definitely still be watching it, but that doesn't mean that I will be liking the film. But I am a fan of Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn. I think she was one of the good things to come out of that Suicide Squad film, if there was any. But God, if they did kill that, I don't know. I just feel, I'm not sure what they should be doing. I don't think they know, and I don't think we know what we want from them.
Well, I DC. Well, quickly we'll go into. I don't know what Henry Cavill must be off a bean. I don't know what he's talking about, but he was saying about how he wants to focus on the future of Superman. Is he still Superman? I didn't even think he was Superman still. Like,
I thought, I think he technically has a contract maybe in place and he needs to sign it or something like that. But I know I think it was like Michael B.
Oh, we all know a fucking
Michael Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan was supposed to be the next Superman. We all know that Zack Snyder, there's a cut of his Justice League out there that nobody wants to watch because I'm pretty sure it's going to be 4 hours of absolute nuts. Like, it's just going to be absolutely batshit crazy, and we're not going to understand what's going on in the film. I don't think I want to see the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. I don't know why people keep asking for it. It's not going to improve the film. It's not going to improve how the film's going to, do. You think the money they're going to make off selling this Snyder cut's going to do anything?
Wait, when the hell did Justice League come out?
You ain't watched Justice League before? Justice League came out about 2 years ago now. Remember, because they made the Justice League film. It came out after Aquaman, but it was finished before Aquaman though. They switched the release dates over, so they put Aquaman out first, and then released Justice League.
No, didn't they put Justice League out first and then?
Did they do Justice League first, then did Aquaman? Something dumb, because everyone was like, oh, but how does that make sense? Because you haven't done separate films for everyone yet. So, like, where's Cyborg's separate film? Where's The Flash's separate film? You know what I'm saying? You've done one for Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman. No, Batman didn't even get one in the end because obviously Ben Affleck's cancelled it. So we got Superman, we got Wonder Woman, we got Aquaman. We never got The Flash or Cyborg or Batman. We never got their standalone films. They all got cancelled in the end.
Yeah,
it's really stupid. No, if you want to watch it, it's about 2 hours and 30 minutes. If you want to have a joke tonight, watch the film. It's really bad.
I'm okay. I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah, apparently Henry Cavill wants to focus on the future of this, apparently. But I he was in the press tour for doing The Witcher. He's Geralt now. I don't know why is he acting like he's still on the film? He's not. You're not filming Superman. There is no plans for a Superman film. So why is he talking about it? Oh, I want to focus on the future of Superman. Superman's done. Like, Superman is done now. Like, oh my gosh.
It's a pretty big role, to be fair, that he probably wants to keep, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't think he was a bad Superman. I just think that it stuff let him down, but...
No. Cavill told Men's Health that despite rumours, he has not given up on the role of Superman, saying, and I quote, "I've not given up on the role. There's lots I have to give for Superman yet. A lot of storytelling to do." Huh? A lot of real and true depths to the honesty of a character that I wanted to get into. I want to reflect the comic books. That's important to me. There's a lot of justice to be done for Superman. The status is, you'll see. Yo, Henry, shut the fuck up. Why are you saying that for? Why are you saying all those things for? Henry, just go away. Like, you meaning to tell me you've not been told that you're coming back as Superman, yet you're talking all this smack in Men's Health about, I want to do a lot of storytelling. What's Henry Cavill talking about?
I'm not sure.
Shut up, man. Like, you just, oh my gosh.
Personally, I'd like to see something different with him in a Superman, but whether we get that or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Someone put in a comment, Henry Cavill wants Man of Steel 2. Give the man what he wants, DC. Oh my gosh. Oh god, and someone said, with better writers and better directors, DC, and we want to see we want to see directors from Game of Thrones. What are people talking about? What, you mean the same Game of Thrones that ended like trash?
No, I don't want that.
What you want J.J. Abrams to be on the project, the one that runs away from everything?
I wouldn't mind that.
Yo, J.J. Abrams says he's working on a project here, and about 2 months later, J.J. Abrams is working on yet another Star Wars film. So I'm not believing him. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so terrible. Give us Man of Steel 2. People actually want Man of Steel 2, you know.
A lot of people like Man of Steel.
Yo, Man of Steel was one of the most boring films I've ever watched in my life. It was shit. There was about 20 minutes of fighting at the end. That was all. Lois Lane, oh my god, she's an awful actor. She's terrible. She's terrible. Who's the actress for her? Terrible Lois Lane. Who else? Yo, that's all right. I ain't got no more smoke for DC because I feel like I'm smoking them up every time. Yeah, I come on here, and I really don't dislike DC. Like, I love Justice League. Like, that's one of my favorite cartoons growing up.
I mean, Amy Adams is a pretty good actor.
Oh man, she was awful though, man. She was fucking awful, man.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on to music because we don't have much time left, and I feel like you're just gonna speak about this for a long time.
Well, shit, we've not got a lot.
No, you've just spent about 15 minutes saying how much you hate Superman.
Just talking about. Well, we were just talking about the DC. Like, this film section was just really about Henry Cavill and the DC universe. Like, we started off with Netflix, The Witcher. Then we went down to Harley Quinn. Then we talked about how mid the new poster looks. Then we talk about Henry Cavill. So we're gonna move on to music because we've got a really short window at the moment.
Bridging the gap between music and gaming. 808s and Joysticks.com.
I will just go into the albums. I'm not gonna like start explaining anything about any of the music. Albums, quite a lot. Lamb Over Rice by Action Bronson, good project. Sorry You Were Saying by Sam Wise from House of Pharaohs, another good project. Grime MC by JME, CD and vinyl only. If you want to listen to that, go out there, go to HMV. My sister went and met JME yesterday. Said it was really good. He's a really cool person. She's in the short film that he made, which is all music videos from the album. Very impressive what he's done to release like an album not on streaming or anything in this climate. Goes to show that Jamie's like an actual grime veteran. So yeah, that's cool. The Game, his final album, Born to Rap. The album art is atrocious. Tom, I don't know if you want.
Yeah, I'm just nodding.
The album art is atrocious. I don't know if anybody wants to, but if you really want to go out there and look at the album art, I would do that. Don't judge that. I would say don't judge the album art off the album, because the album's actually not that bad. Album art is absolutely atrocious though. Fabulous, Summertime Shootout 3. Montana by French Montana, which has No Shopping and Lockjaw on there from 3 years ago. Don't know what French Montana's doing. Also, apparently this is his third official album. Pretty sure French Montana's been releasing like bare albums over the last years. Like, I don't know how this is his third official album. I'm like, what? Like,
he's been around for some time.
He's been around for some time. Bad Vibes Forever. Triple Tentacion's final Prometheus album from him, which has a lot of weird features and songs like Blink 182's on there. Yeah, there's a lot. Her Story Volume 1, Mary J. Blige, Queen Mary. Queen and Slim, the soundtrack, that's various artists, Lil Baby, Sid, Choker, Six Lack, Black, Earth Gang, Meg, Bilal, Blood Orange, Ian Asaya, Lauryn Hill, and much more. Moving on to singles real quick, we've got Heartless and Blinding Lights. Got a little Metro Boomin production on one side, and then we've got Blinding Lights sounding a little bit more like the Daft Punk 70s-esque, 80s-esque, kind of like that kind of vibe, synth wave. The Weeknd doing what he does best, telling all you out there, he don't need you, he out here, he's the Weeknd. Time Along With You, Jacob Collier featuring Daniel Caesar. Haven't heard this song, if I'm being honest, haven't heard the song. Daniel Caesar was actually featured really heavy on our wrap up for Spotify, probably just to go show that we really loved that album. Sugar Plum, is that supposed to be Energy or Elegy? Elegy.
Yeah.
By Nicki. Proofread by Famous Dex featuring Wiz Khalifa. Flick It Up featuring Reason featuring Absol. Pride by Nines. Nina Nines is back. 10+1 by CGM. That's Digga D's crew. We got G Herbo, 100 Bands. Solita, the new single for Kali Uchis's new album that's coming out soon. And Cuba by Theophilus London. And that is it for the music releases. Yeah, for this couple weeks. We're probably missing out some other stuff as well, because I think Camila Cabello's album came out, but I don't give a shit about her. I don't really know who else. Anybody else?
There's definitely more stuff that's come out, but
there's more stuff. There's
we tend to just wrap up.
Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Take is coming out very soon. We've got the Futsal Shuffle for 2020. That's a new dance. Everyone get on it. Futsal Shuffle. Come on, Tom. Let me see your Futsal Shuffle. Yeah, that's it for music. Really, the Grammy nominations is there again, but there's so much bullshit of it. Like, I don't know. Do you want to discuss Grammys or?
Yeah, we've got loads of time. So, starting off, we're going to go down one by one in category. No, I mean, there's a lot. There's not too much time. There's an important thing that I put on here though, just regarding that. Early on in the, well, probably not in the year actually, last year, early on in the year, I've been discussing Billie Eilish for a long time, and talking about that. Now, she has been nominated several times for Grammys, for several different Grammy. I don't even know how to word that. She's been nominated for other awards. She's won other awards. She's won Apple Music's Artist of the Year. You know, she's high up on the Spotify list. She's really sort of come into her element this year and just sort of produced what I thought was a really good album. And it's good to see that it was recognised. And it's also good to see people like, Tyler's recognising her and saying things like, he had the number one album for so long, but then, this 17-year-old girl came along and just kicked him off, and it's good to see that, we won't get into the whole Drake is sending her text stuff, but that's maybe for people to research themselves. But yeah, I just wanted to say, it's notable that her rise has come relatively fast. But I think a lot of people should not forget as well, it's her and her brother that have done it, and they're both very talented at what they do, and I think they deserve everything they're going to get for the album they've made and the music they've made. So that's really just my piece on the Grammy nominations.
I recognise her talent and stuff like that. It's not really for me. I don't think it's really, in my opinion, it's not really groundbreaking for me. But I do understand why other people think that. So I get it. It's cool. Go Billie Eilish. I'd rather her win over Lizzo because I don't like Lizzo. So that's about it, really. I would rather prefer Lizzo not to win for a song that is 3 years old. So
that is true, actually.
I've got beef. I've got serious beef with the Grammys because Lady Gaga is nominated once again for that bullshit soundtrack for that film that she did with my man. What's his name called? Bradley Cooper. Why is she nominated again? This is the second year in a row that she's nominated for this same album. How is that possible?
I don't know.
The Grammys is on bullshit, man. Grammys on, there's songs on there that I'm thinking, hold on now. Okay, how long have we got? We've got 3 minutes. Okay, we've got
we have not got enough time for you to rant about Lizzo and the Grammys.
No. It's not even about Lizzo. It was about some of the categories and stuff like that. I seen some of the categories that Lil Nas X was in. I was like, that's not an R&B song. That's not a collaboration. So why are they nominated? I just didn't really understand it. There's a lot to unpack about the Grammys and the nominations and time, the times that people are being nominated for music for, because I think that's really unfair. If we're going to nominate people for older songs, then that you might as well just let everyone get nominated for their songs that they had back in the day that have only just got popular now. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think that is really fair for an artist to come out and act like they're a brand new artist. Lizzo isn't a new artist. She's been doing music for the last 10 years. So it's not fair to say that that's stealing a spot away from somebody who is a new person. Do you know what I mean? Who actually has made new music, a brand new concept. Plus, not even talking about all of the rubbish that is surrounding Lizzo stealing her song and her lyrics from other sources. Yet she's getting Grammy nominated for it. I think it's wrong. We just know Tyler's going to get snubbed again. I don't care for the Grammys at all. So
he is.
Frank already said fuck Grammys. Drake said fuck the Grammys. Who else has said? Nicki said fuck the Grammys. All these, Kanye said he don't mess with the Grammys. So what's the point? There's no point anymore. I'm surprised Kanye didn't get nominated at all either. For an album like that, I wouldn't expect it.
Nah, I think Drake said it best last year. Yeah, if people listen to your music, you're already successful.
Exactly.
And then they cut him off mid-speech. So I think that shows
how the Grammy really felt about how when artists want to try and speak on real things, because obviously they're not expecting someone like Drake to be saying something like that. So it's just one of those things, really. I guess we're just gonna have to see how it's all gonna bolt out. But that's about it anyway for this show. We was going to talk more about the Grammy nominations. I guess that's going to follow on to the next one. As I said,
as always,
as always, thank you for all the support. Obviously, we're on all platforms. SoundCloud, we're not on SoundCloud. Sorry, Spreaker, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify. We're just on a lot of things. We're also not on a lot of things as well. So if you see that we're not on there, go to these places that we're actually saying, because we're definitely on these platforms. Also, make sure you're refreshing your Apple Podcast feed as well, because I've heard that's an issue that the episodes stop loading after a certain time. So make sure you're resubscribing and refreshing your feed on Apple Podcasts. Shout out to Dash. And yeah, thank you so much for all the support. Weekly playlist, daily. We're back on our bullshit. Don't worry about it. We're here. 808s. Let's do it.
Eight 808s and Joysticks with Tom Stone and Tairell Hayward Brown.